From once being a relatively unknown real-time strategy puzzle game, to now receiving reactions like this.
We are beating! Yes! Yes! This is all I wanted! I dreamt about this! Oh my god, I posted this!
Pikmin has had a long and inconsistent journey, but has managed to distinguish itself through its unique aspects and gameplay, all while building a very dedicated player base. Over the course of 20 plus years and only 3 mainline games, Pikmin has managed to establish itself as one of Nintendo's dark horse franchises. But how exactly has it managed to gain momentum with such infrequent releases? And how has it managed to not only stay relevant, but expand its fanbase over such a large time period? Today, we'll look to discuss the history as well as witness the delayed rise of the Pikmin franchise. Now, the origins of Pikmin can be traced as far back as Space World 2000, where Nintendo would run a tech demo which at the time was being teased as the sequel to Super Mario 64, fittingly named Super Mario 128. The video showed a small Mario walking around on a disc before picking up a box, revealing another small Mario. At the same time, Shigeru Miyamoto would task his development team to make a game that was, in his words, nothing like Mario. So the development team decided to use the infrastructure of Super Mario 128 to create a prototype which they called Adam and Eve. The game was to function like a civilization simulation game, where players could guide Adam and Eve through the world while building a civilization of people. The game was missing an identity, and with no clear direction for it, the team was feeling very unsatisfied. That was when Miyamoto came to the rescue, with his new passion for gardening. Miyamoto suggested that they put a plant-based spin on the characters. This paired with the Mini Mario's ability to carry boxes in the tech demo gave birth to the idea of small plant-like creatures being able to carry items around. One thing led to the next, and eventually, the game evolved into the Pikmin that we all know today. Released for the GameCube in 2001, Pikmin was unlike anything that we'd seen before, at least from Nintendo. The game followed Captain Olimar, an extraterrestrial from the planet Hokate. Unfortunately for him, his ship, the SS Dolphin, which was a reference to the GameCube's codename, Project Dolphin, was hit by a comet and crashes on an unknown planet. His ship is torn apart as a result, and parts of the spaceship are scattered around the surrounding area. Upon gaining consciousness, Olimar realizes that the planet's atmosphere contains very high levels of poisonous oxygen, which will kill him after 30 days if he remains on the planet. This introduces the first core element of the game, a time limit of 30 days. Funnily enough, there are also 30 ship parts to be collected, which by my calculations, would be about 1 ship part per day. Now, you don't actually have to collect all 30 parts within the time limit, and the game actually offers 3 endings based on the number you do collect. The best ending for all 30 parts, a good ending for at least 25 parts, and the bad ending if you fail to collect at least 25 parts in the 30-day time limit. Now, after exploring for a little bit, you stumble across the planet's inhabitants, which appear to be plant-animal hybrids. As you might have guessed, Olimar gives them the nickname of Pikmin, and with their help, his journey begins. The game introduces you to 3 different types of Pikmin throughout it, all with different strengths and weaknesses. The first Pikmin encountered are the red Pikmin, who are resistant to fire and are the strongest in terms of combat power. Yellow Pikmin can be thrown higher than other Pikmin, as well as carry bomb rocks which can be used to blow up obstacles like walls. Blue Pikmin are the only Pikmin with the ability to survive in water, with the others drowning. Using their respective abilities is crucial when exploring each area and collecting each ship part. As you collect more parts, the ship gains functionality, allowing Olimar to travel to other zones on the planet, each with its own unique designs and dangers. No area feels truly similar to another, and the strategies used differ greatly between zones. The overall uniqueness and stunning graphics were praised by critics, and the game received a positive reception. The sales for the games weren't outstanding, however, partly due to the underperformance of the console on which it was released. But for a completely new franchise, it was commendable and established Pikmin as a franchise with solid potential. Now, Nintendo seemed eager to continue with the franchise, and within 3 years, Pikmin 2 had been released for the GameCube in 2004. Taking place immediately following the events of Pikmin, the game starts with Olimar returning to his home planet, Hokate. Olimar, being the unlucky guy that he is, finds that his employer has gone into severe debt, and as a result, he is tasked with returning to the Pikmin planet to collect treasure to pay off his debt. Olimar is accompanied by his co-worker Louise this time, allowing for the ability to switch between 2 leaders to complete different tasks across the map from each other. This adds further strategy and allows for a lot more to be done when compared to the rushed nature of the first game. One element that was removed from its predecessor was the 30-day time limit, meaning that you could spend as long as you needed to fully explore and collect all the treasure. The gameplay for the most part remains fairly similar to the original game, with Olimar and Louise ordering Pikmin to fight, carry, destroy obstacles, and even build structures like bridges. The original trilogy of Pikmin makes a reappearance, but this time they're joined by a further 2 species. Meet the white and purple Pikmin. White Pikmin are swifter than other types and can resist poisonous gases, and will poison enemies stupid enough to eat them. Purple Pikmin on the other hand resist nothing, but are far stronger, being able to live 10 times that of the ordinary Pikmin. Because they're also super thick, they can also stun enemies when thrown. Again, the strategy one uses and the choices regarding the lineup of Pikmin to use for each zone are crucial, and will most likely be different for each player. Another element added to this game was the addition of caves, which are pretty much just dungeons. Each of these caves included multiple sublevels, and once entered, time stood still, meaning you could explore these caves for an indefinite period of time. The catch though, you couldn't call any more Pikmin while in the cave, meaning the amount you entered with was all you had to work with. This was a great addition as it made you consider and balance out your party of Pikmin so that you could cover all bases. The layout of caves was also randomly generated with exceptions of certain floors, generally boss floors, meaning no 2 players would have the exact same experience when playing. The game would go on to receive critical acclaim, being praised for the removal of the 30-day time limit and the overall improvements to gameplay and graphics over the original. Unfortunately, the positive reviews didn't translate well into sales for the game, which saw a heavy decline when compared to the first Pikmin. What was certain, however, was that the franchise was building a group of loyal players who couldn't get enough and wanted more. Unfortunately, those fans would have to wait for a very long time before seeing Pikmin again. We now enter the dark ages of the Pikmin timeline. Year after year, mentions of a new Pikmin game were few and far between. Miyamoto hinted at the possibility of a new Pikmin game during a 2007 interview, where he stated, "I certainly don't think we've seen the last of Pikmin," before pointing out the seemingly perfect compatibility the Pikmin gameplay could have with the Wii console. The following year, at E3 2008, Miyamoto confirmed that a new Pikmin game was being worked on, and that it would be released for the Wii, and that as he predicted, the Wii's controls were working very well with the game. This was followed by an announcement late in 2008, where it was revealed that Pikmin was finally coming to Wii. The only problem? These games were actually just re-releases of the first 2 Pikmin games. Now, you have to wonder as a fan, was a new Pikmin game actually in development? Or was Miyamoto just referring to these re-releases? E3 2009 passed, then E3 2010, followed by E3 2011. Now what did all 3 of these E3s have in common, you might ask? None of them featured anything regarding Pikmin. Ignoring the re-releases, the franchise at this point had been MIA for nearly 7 years, and was quickly being wheeled into the emergency department next to Star Fox for critical life support. Miyamoto would state that development for the next Pikmin game would be moved to the Wii U, stating that the HD graphics and special screen-based controller would work better for it. So he was pretty much saying the exact same thing he said for the Wii. Thankfully though, this mention was followed up on, and at Nintendo's E3 press conference in 2012, Pikmin 3 was announced. Pikmin 3 would be released the following year in 2013, nearly 10 years after Pikmin 2 for the Wii U. Unlike the previous 2 games, the player does not actually take control of Olimar. Instead, the game follows the story of a different group of captains, Alf, Brittany, and Charlie, who are on a mission to recover food as their home planet Kopai is currently suffering from a famine. In usual Pikmin fashion, the 3 captains' ship malfunctions and crash lands on the Pikmin planet, separating them. Now in control of 3 different captains, the player must find a way to reunite the heroes while discovering the different types of Pikmin along the way. Now the usual suspects are present from the past Pikmin game. You know who I'm talking about, the red, blue and yellow Pikmin. The game, like the previous, introduces 2 new Pikmin types though. The grey rock Pikmin, which can destroy tough barriers and are immune to being crushed by heavy objects, and pink-winged Pikmin, which can attack airborne enemies, carry items through the air, and travel over water. As you'd expect, the general gameplay loop remains generally the same as in past installments, with the addition of a new captain to switch to and the new strategies possible with the newer Pikmin. The use of the Wii U gamepad also allowed players to map the captain's routes and have them communicate with each other. The game was received well and was praised for its continued expansions and improvements on earlier games. Unfortunately, Pikmin had once again been released on a console that struggled to sell well, and if anything, Pikmin 3 had actually helped to sell more Wii U's than the other way around. This showed just how dedicated the fanbase was. Even after waiting 10 years and on a console that was underperforming, this was a franchise that had the potential to be as big as any other of Nintendo's mainstays. What was even more surprising though, was the fact that Miyamoto in 2015, just 2 years after the release of Pikmin 3, mentioned that Pikmin 4 was in development and was very close to completion. Now, if you've seen any of the recent Nintendo Directs, then you know what Miyamoto just said was a fucking lie. I mean, I didn't realize that very close meant another 10 years. But that's besides the point. In the time between Pikmin 3 and Pikmin 4, a spin-off game called Hey Pikmin was released. This game strayed away from the real-time strategy format of past Pikmin games and had Olimar lead a group of Pikmin through 2D levels to collect Sparklium, the main source of fuel for Olimar's ship. Unlike previous games, the players could not choose which Pikmin to take and would have to rely on Pikmin found in each level to complete it. Safe to say this game was met with mixed opinions, with many being disappointed in the simplicity of the puzzles and the overall difference in gameplay that they'd grown accustomed to. Another 4 long years followed Hey Pikmin before Pikmin was mentioned again. God, I feel like I'm saying Pikmin a lot. This time, it was another re-release, in the form of Pikmin 3 Deluxe. The game, for the most part, was the same, but included a new prologue and epilogue featuring Captain Olimar and Louise. It also featured a new set of difficulty modes and the ability to play cooperatively with friends in story mode. Again, the game broke sales records, selling well over 2.2 million copies worldwide. And with that, we're all caught up to the current day. With Pikmin 4 releasing this year, it's safe to assume that will most likely become the best-selling Pikmin game ever. Over the course of 20 years, Pikmin has managed to establish itself as one of the most unique and creative Nintendo franchises. The series has managed to build a loyal fanbase and rise to new levels of success, all while having infrequent releases. I'm sure if the games were more frequent, it would likely be much bigger by now, but due to the delays in new installments, it's had a long and treacherous journey. The games have managed to build on top of each other, innovating just enough to keep it fresh and exciting, while still keeping the core gameplay and unique touch that makes them stand out. Because of this, the franchise has been able to prosper and succeed where many others would fail, and from here, it looks like it will only continue to grow. I want to thank you guys all for watching. Please do subscribe if you enjoyed it, and check out my other videos that are similar to this one. I'll catch you all in the next one. Ciao.